I think I'm going to start. Carry on. Well, good afternoon. I'm going to start by our acknowledgement that the University of Manitoba campuses are located on the original lands of Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and on the homeland of the Métis Nation. We respect the treaties that were made on these territories, we acknowledge the harms and mistakes of the past, and we dedicate ourselves to moving forward in partnership with Indigenous communities in a spirit of reconciliation and collaboration. So it's my pleasure this afternoon to introduce you to our speaker. Our speaker is Professor Salvador Simo Algado. He's graduated as an occupational therapist in 1994 from the Universidad de Zaragoza. I apologize for all of my Spanish mispronunciations. He obtained his PhD in inclusive education in 2011 and a Master in Business Administration in 2013. Dr. Simo is a co-founder of Occupational Therapy Without Borders. His work with this organization has led to projects in Bosnia, Kosovo, Guatemala, where he has worked with refugees, Indigenous people, and people whose lives have been ravaged by conflict. His research in Spain has focused on mental health and social inclusion. Dr. Simo is a faculty member in the Faculty of Health Sciences and Wellbeing at the Universitat de Vic, Universitat Central de Catalunya since 2000. His research is focused on the social determinants of health, social entrepreneurship, suicide prevention, and the use of art as an asset for health and social inclusion. He served as the director of the Faculty Research Group on Mental Health and Social Innovation since 2013. In 2016, his research projects include art and culture as a path for well-being and social inclusion with people with Alzheimer's, dealing with child poverty by empowering teachers and parents, suicide prevention from research to policy design, creating a social entrepreneurship business with mental health survivors. Dr. Simo is an international consultant on the development of projects integrating research, education, and practice, and has lectured or worked in more than 30 countries. He's also very widely published, and he will share his personal link, web link with you later in the presentation so you can learn more about some of his work. Today we're honored to have him come and present to us on art and dementia, the impact of culture on the well-being and social inclusion. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Simo.
So thank you so much for being here. I want to thank the hospitality of the College of Rehabilitation Science, so for me and Maria and Pau. So thank you so much for this wonderful welcoming, and it's good to be at home, being so far from home. So today we'll just focus on one project because we have half an hour, so I don't want to jump from one project to the others. But as Jackie mentioned, right now we have like 3 different main research projects going on. It's action research, so always they are connected with praxis. One is about dealing with child poverty at the school level, empowering the children, the parents, and the teachers. That's one of the projects we are working with. Another one is about suicide prevention. We are doing research, and from the research we are improving the preventative programs in Spain. And the other one is more about art and culture, art and for the social inclusion and the well-being, and I will focus on the third one. But anyway, if you have interest in dealing with children poverty and promoting mental health at the school system, we can talk about this later, and also about social entrepreneurship, or the part more about suicide, so after the conference. So we have one important part of our projects is connected to the role of art and culture, not only with dementia, because I will present one concrete project we have already finished with the Center of Contemporary Culture of Barcelona. In this project, we were working with patients with dementia, but right now we are doing this project in the Museum Thyssen of Madrid. Maybe you have listened about, because it's one of the most famous museums in Spain, and there we are working with mental health survivors. And also I am leading this project at the Museo de Bellas Artes in Coruña, also with mental health survivors, and we'll start the same project at the Auditorium of Catalonia, and it will be with mental health survivors and dementia patients. So where is the populations we are working with? And also we'll start soon in Portugal, so it's kind of international project now. So the Center of Contemporary Culture is one of the most prestigious cultural institutions in Catalonia. And we were very honored because they invited us to do the evaluation of the program they are developing, because they decided they must be an open institution, an open museum, and they wanted to welcome people with dementia and people with Alzheimer. So you know about the dementia. Of course, they don't need to go further about this with you, because you are more expert than me. But it's important to notice there are 46 million of people with dementia worldwide, and these numbers are increasing. It's saying normally in 20 years it's doubling the number. So it's increasing population, and at the same time the resources from the public services, social services, health service are decreasing. So these mathematics are impossible mathematics. So it's very important to start thinking innovative ways to deal with these situations, and to do it from a meaningful way and from powerful that really has a real impact. So it's important to look at the community and to look at the amazing resources we have at the community levels. And Mario Benedetti said, el olvido está lleno de memoria, and the forgetfulness is full of memory. So it's a quotation to start with. And I also want to start with, this is very important, the access to art, the access to culture, it's a human right. It's not something additional, it's not something supplementary, it's a fundamental human right. And we, as society, we must make sure that this right is respected for people with dementia. So, and also it's very important to notice that when we go to scientific literature, the studies from Thyssen are saying very clearly that dementia takes longer to affect creativity and artistic appreciation and expression. So these are parts that are still, we're working from the capabilities of the persons. So we are working from that part that is still working properly. And dementia does not prevent to visit art centers. It's more about adaptation of the centers and just to make sure that they are welcoming spaces for people. But dementia does not prevent. So many times in society that because of is not because of a stigma or because architectural barriers or whatever is preventing, but it's not the illness in itself. And also there is a lot of qualitative and quantitative research that's proving that art, culture has a positive life effect, and it's about increasing the quality of life of the persons. So it's important also to, when we do research and we do projects, we are working from RICARE, you know, the phenomenology of the capable man. We always have to remember that we as human beings are able beings, able of word, action and narrative. So it's very important always to look for and to start from the resources of the community and from the strengths of the people. So the project of Alzheimer is based on this Center of Contemporary Culture. On Mondays, the center just opens for people with Alzheimer's disease and people with dementia. It's open 1 day per week for them, and there are groups of 8 to 12 people going to the visits with 2 educators, and all the visit is adapted. The lights, the sounds, and everything. And it's about 1 hour approximately. And it's a center of contemporary culture. That's very important to notice because, for example, here you see photos from the exhibitions that are visiting the clients. One, it was about humans, the future of humanity. So it's temporarily far from the client's perspective, but the other one was about Africa, so it was very geographically far from the client's perspective. And so this is very interesting. And I will start just showing a short video about the center so you can see the visits going on and the research going on, because for them it's easy for you to understand what's going on there. this lady is one of the educators. And this is the second exhibition we were doing the research about. It's about Africa, and you see a lot of interaction. Especially notice the expressions of the faces. And in the visits there are the clients, but also it's about the caregivers and the family members are together. For example, this is one daughter with her mother. And this is one of the pieces that we talk about you later, about its weapons, as it done by weapons. And for example, she's Jessica Garrido. She's one of our researchers, just doing the field notes, taking the field notes for the participant observation. So in all the sessions, it was 2 researchers, plus we were recording each session. Also already from the focus groups, I will talk to you later. So this was the project, and we are working a lot from participatory action research. I really believe that as academia we have the responsibility to improve the life and the well-being and the social participation of the people we are honored to work with. So it's not just about to create knowledge. This knowledge must make people's life better. And we do, I love the Emmanuel Mounier expression of how we do action and we do research, and how Mounier was comparing this to the cycles of diastolic and systolic movement of the human heart. So it's very important to combine action with research, and always to look for the participation of the communities and to examining the topics from their own experience, and looking, of course, every time the more active participation of the communities in the research process. So it's very important when we work with Alzheimer, people with Alzheimer, to notice that, as Bert's research was pointing, the persons with dementia have shown their interest to talk in first person. So many times research has converted them into objects, but not into active subjects. So because we assume as they have dementia, they cannot do it. And it's not true, because also the research from Mosley was saying that 80% of people with dementia can take part of interviews. So it's very important just to have them as active participants. And we are working a lot from a hermeneutic paradigm. So for us, we try to understand human complexity, and for this, it's very important to listen. And we were listening, first of all, the clients, but also we were listening the caregivers, the family members, the educators from the museum, and plus that we were doing the participant observation. And we were combining quantitative research with qualitative research, but it's most qualitative research, because I strongly believe, I love Sousa Santos, it's one Portuguese sociologist, who is talking about the sociology of absences. There are so many voices neglected at academia, for example, the voices of the people with disabilities, people with dementia. So it's our responsibility to bring back these voices and to listen to them, because there are so much wisdom in these voices and so many much we have to learn from them. For example, one research I have done in Spain is with people who has tried to commit suicide. We do life histories and we learn from them, and from their knowledge we are improving the preventative programs about suicide prevention in Spain, because they have a very valuable knowledge about not just the factors who are making them to consider to suicide, especially about the factors of resilience. What is helping them to continue alive? So it's very important to remember this. So we were doing the focal groups, the questionnaires, and the participant observation. And you see, when we went to the quantitative research, that almost 90% of the 41 participants of the research, almost 90% said that was this is non-pharmacological therapy scale. So you are measuring the participation, enjoyment, relationship with others, dysplasia, and avoidance of the activity. So almost 90% showed participation in the program. enjoying the program and relationship with others, and 0% show displeasure or refusal or avoidance of the program. So it was a strong participation, almost 90% as of enjoyment. And on the other side, it was not about displeasure or refusal of the project. And just for users, just 10% were not showing participation. But it's important to notice that the program is mostly welcoming people in the first stage, but if people in more advanced stage of dementia are coming, they are welcome anyway. And it was people with second stage of dementia. And nobody was agitated in any of the visits. So it was any of the 41 clients. So it was very interesting. And this is the qualitative research methodology we are following. And I will share some of the narrative with you because I think it's very important. So we do the focus groups with the clients, caregivers, family members, and the questionnaires with the educators. We transcribe them, and then we're working through Atlas-TIS methodologies for doing the analysis, the codes, and the family of codes. And here you have when we did the focus groups with families, with the caregivers, users, and family members. These are the codes and the family of codes appearing. And you have also the percentage of the code, how much present it was in the discourse. So there was 3 big families, as you will see. It's about health, it's about social participation, and it was about the program itself. And also when we went to the questionnaires about the educators, it was also families were health, social participation, the program. Also it was a unique family about the role of the educators. And when we did the analysis of the field notes of the participant observations, it was again health and social participation, and it was also educators. So you'll see when we see the different origins of qualitative data, we see how the families of health, social participation are present in the 3 techniques. And in the focus group and the questionnaires, it's about the program. And also in the questionnaires and the fieldwork and notes, it's about the educators. And it's important to notice that we were coding and agreeing with the families. It was done by 2 researchers independently, and we were discussing and just agreeing about this. But now I am in a hurry because we have short time, but my most important role here is to share with you some of the narrative. I think that's very important. So it's important to notice that people are aware that they're losing their capabilities. It's about my memories goes to water, but you enjoy the moment. So they're aware they're losing, that dementia is advancing. But they are feeling that you don't think about anything, just enjoy the moment. It's very close to flow theory of Csikszentmihalyi. And also the family members agree about this. Just that at home she's happy, she explains it to my father, my mother keeps a diary, and she writes about it. So it's not just the visit, it's after the visit things are going on. And the caregiver saying something like, neuronally, I don't know how this is working, but it's improving their emotional state a lot. So always you will see how all the voices agree about what they are saying. The program is not about physical well-being, but it was important to notice that it was not affecting them in a negative way. So tired? No, on the contrary, we are very active with enthusiasm, and we want to see everything. So the clients are very active during the visits. And one of the important aspects that the research show is impacting this program is about the cognitive well-being of the users. So it was about cognitive impact. I have seen them very well and attentive. When they are not interested in some activity, they just fall asleep. So the caregivers are saying the same group, another activity, some of them are just sleeping, and here they were very active and very attentive. And of course, it's about the reminiscence, the evocation of memories. Yes, myself, with my husband, with my wife, we went to art centers, cultural centers. So it's about evocation of memories. And as the caregiver is saying, it's very important because we go back to the history of the person. Sometimes we have persons with such a rich cultural life before, so we cannot them to be prevented from that when they are in a nursery home or where they are. So it's very important to reconnect them with their life history. And here you see that the expressions is really people really participating in the activities. And this was very important because normally when we consider and we are talking about dementia, we talk about Alzheimer, we're always talking about reminiscence and how they are connected with past and whatever. But also in the research, it was very interesting how they were really interested in connecting with the new things. They were enjoying novelty, so it was very close to learning. And they wanted to learn more, what's going on. And it was the center of contemporary culture. So they were talking about the future of humanity. It's long from them, they were interested, and Africa was geographically distant, and they really were very interested. And they were interactive. So this is very interesting. So, and it's also about orientation to reality. When we were seeing the Africa exhibition, they start talking about Africa, about Nelson Mandela, so there was really connecting with the reality. And I thought this was very interesting. One of the daughters was saying, my mother at home, if she's CTV, she's not reacting to that. Maybe they're talking about Africa war, but when she saw the seed with the weapons, she started talking about Africa, she started talking about war, but she kept on talking about this at home. So she was able to connect to the contemporary reality through the art experience, but she's not connecting through TV. So it was very, very interesting also. But especially the program is about emotional well-being, cognitive well-being, as I told you, but also it's about social participation. People were saying something like, the clients, here I am much better, I hope we can be more often out of the day centers. It's an escape valve. So yesterday we went to Riverside. It was a beautiful place, a beautiful day center. Not all the centers are like these ones, at least in Spain, I don't know in Canada. In some of the Spanish centers are not so beautiful. So for people, it was kind of escapatory. So they feel kind of prison sometimes, imprisoned there. And the caregivers are saying that some of them are living alone and they are not going out from Friday to Monday. They are neglected of social participation. Or for example, there was a case, it's the first time she's going out for 7 years. So it's about social determinants of health. It's not just about dementia, it's about Alzheimer, but also it's about poverty. It's about living in a house without elevator and you are in the 4th floor and what's going on. So there are a lot of social aspects here. And it's a lot of social interaction. For example, you see how the client she wanted to notice that there was no glasses, so she was just touching, and so it was very active participation during the visits. And the daughter was saying, for my mother now it's very difficult to contact with people, but when she's coming here, she is very easy to contact with other Alzheimer clients because she was coming alone, because you can come with a big group of clients, but also you can come with your family members alone. And in that situation she was interacting quite well, so it was also important to notice. And the people really are enjoying the visits. I love coming to the museum. The Spanish expression is adoro. ¿Cómo se diría adoro in English?
Adore.
Adore. It's not I like. It's okay. No, I adore. It was superlative. So, and when you ask the caregivers, what do you think about this program? Spectacular. Or when you talk the daughter, that she's an expert in resources, because when you have a family member with Alzheimer, you become an expert where you can bring your family relative to have quality interventions, quality programs. She was saying, this is very innovative, it's the most innovative I have seen, this is spectacular, it's wonderful that this center is opening the doors for people with dementia. So it was very good value by the clients, by the caregivers, and again by the family members. And the educators play a transcendental role. Tere is one of the leading the education of the museum, and the rest of the group are doing such a wonderful job. They just, when the people arrive with the vehicle, they are there at the street level, they welcome them, they're naming them, and all the time they take care in such a beautiful way of the clients to have a wonderful experience. So this is one of the key aspects of the success of this program. It's not just about you go to museum, no. It's about the museum, but especially it's about how you take care of the persons. So, and they do a lot of adaptations about the sounds. So if there are so many audios, they just put some audios out, and they just make sure about the lights, and they put seats here because they can rest and whatever, and they select the most suited art pieces they want to visit, and each one they're making the connection to their life. So it's a very active role for the educators. You see here Terea and how she's interacting with the clients, but notice the expression of one of the caregivers. She's on the left. She's in occupational therapy, working in that center. They're also very participant, and they're really enjoying the visit, the caregivers. And when you ask the clients or caregivers or the family members how we can improve it, we want more. We want longer visits, we want more visits. So also it's saying a lot about the success of this program. And also it's important for the caregivers, the impact. It's not just that the program is impacting the clients, it's impacting the caregivers. When I see them sad, I feel it's affecting me. So when I see that they are happy, I am also happy. And also it's about their cultural life. So they were saying, we do so many things like as playing bingo that for me has no meaning. But when we are here, I am in a cultural institution, I can share this with my friends. I am enriching my cultural life and I'm enjoying it. So it also have a beautiful impact for the caregivers and for the family members. So these are some of the narrative of the persons. And also when we did the research with the questionnaires with the educators, also there were showing a good impact, and how they also strongly believe that it was affecting the emotional well-being of the users. Normally they come happy and they stay well during the visit. They were not affecting the physical aspects. We don't normally see excessive fatigue during the visits. And the level of cognitive impact was important. People with Alzheimer's experience an intellectual stimulus, establishing connections between personal experience and the world around them. So also there was noticing how it was improving the recall of memories, and also how it was about the social participation. They develop different activity than usual, and it can lead to different relationships. You know, when you have Alzheimer's disease, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the days are very alike each other. There is not a lot of stimulus. So just to imagine you are out of the center, you take the van, you go through Barcelona. It's a beautiful city to see, to be around. You go to this spectacular center of culture. It's something meaningful for them, really. And you are breaking the routines and the isolation for them. And it's very important to notice that the program is affecting the clients, caregivers, family members, the educators, but also is affecting the museum itself, because they are changing their mentality. Now they are much more aware. They want to be an inclusive museum, inclusive cultural center, and they are doing a lot of effort to make sure they're working with wider populations, that they are more universal design-based center, and they are taking care of everybody. So the program is changing the museum itself. And I was talking with the director, and it was very clear, and it was beautiful to see how they're enriching themselves to be in contact with people with dementia. That's also very, very nice. And so they're improving the accessibility of the museum. They are doing more programs with the neighborhood. It's a poor neighborhood. It's in Raval in Barcelona. So now they are much more aware of the social responsibility that they have. And they're all the time thinking how we can improve. So maybe we are going to have smaller groups. So maybe we'll incorporate a graphic designer in our team. So they are just thinking how to make it more inclusive for everybody. And one of the key aspects is that are giving personalized attention to all the clients, so they take care of them. And all the adaptations, as I mentioned you before, are very important. And you see in the photos they show how these interactions are going on. And also it was good for the educators to know what's the impact of what they are doing. We are doing this program, so we want to know what's the impact of this program. And the important thing that also is giving meaningful to the job of the educators. So to know that they're there, they're helping people, they're improving the life of the people from the health and the social participation, also is making their work more meaningful and is impacting to them. So it gives you a real opportunity to help others and to have a better quality of life. Every day when the visit finishes and they say goodbye and thank us, we look at each other convinced that it has been worth. So also it was beautiful to see the impact for the workers of the museum, the educators. So it's about a meaningful occupation. It's a close concept for occupational therapy, for example, how it was. And when we did the participant observation, there was 2 researchers taking the field notes, but we also were recording the sessions. So after we were watching the sessions, just compiling all the field notes, and the results were in the same direction. It was about the emotional well-being. The groups again of the persons. The group begins to comment games that they have played when they were small. Tere pretends to be playing charanca in front of the group, and there is fun. There is a nice emotional feeling around. And it's about enjoyment of the visit. Everyone smiles when they see the children. They say, oh, especially women, when they see there was RPs with babies, so they started like commenting a lot. And this was very interesting. Also, humor was so present, and it was provoked by the clients themselves. I don't know, I so many times has gone into visiting my students, going to day centers, and when you enter there, the emotional state of the center is not it's not a party. It's close to depression, it's close to sadness. And I was really surprised and amazed by how many moments they were just provoking humor between themselves, and they were just joking, and it was so very important to notice. So, for example, there was one of the photos. It was a woman with underwear and with a man also with underwear, and one of them was saying, "Oh, this is for summer." And for example, there was a moment that Tere was asking them, "Did you have swings in your village?" And one of the persons was saying, "Yes, we went to swings, first without hands and then without teeth." So it was a joke, so everybody was, ha, ha, ha. So it was constantly these kind of interactions. That was really nice to see. So they were talking about the physical well-being with the wheelchairs and with the seats all the time. And there was one moment in all the visits, there was one moment of disorientation, because when they were putting the names, one of the clients' names was Trini, and Trini was the name of the wife of one of the clients. So he was asking, Trini is here, but very easily he connect back to reality. It was the only moment of confusion we had during all the visits. And also, all the time they are very connected. And this is for example, this is the piece that were one of the pieces that were visiting. So this was provoking the reflections about Africa, the reflection about Nelson Mandela, and the woman later was talking at home about this. So it's not an exhibition prepared for people with dementia. No, it's the normal exhibition, and it's contemporary. And you could think, okay, you should not show this. No. And they are reacting very, very well to this. And always it's about the attention and the interest of the clients. And always they were provoking to talk about their life narrative, their meaningful roles, their children, their grandchildren. So it was a lot of meaning, really, during the visits. This is, for example, when they were seeing the babies, all of them start talking about how they're taking care of their own children. They were talking about their grandson, their granddaughters, etc. And it's nice because it's visits you can participate. So it's not just that you are touching the glasses, but also there was a sculpture. It was done with tires, and they were touching it, and even the ones with the wheelchair wanted to go, and they wanted to touch, and they wanted to experience. So I really like that. I hate when you are in a museum and there is a metal sculpture or whatever, and you want to touch, and they don't allow you. They say, come on, it's metal. It's not. So you are welcome to touch. That's nice. And this is very important. If you want to do a program like this, it's very important that the role of the educators is very important. And of course the adaptation. So there are a lot of OTs here, so I should not talk about this. And especially the social participation also was very interesting. It was very important part of the field notes. So how they really were interacting, and also I noticed a lot how they were helping each other and how they were supporting each other. It's about the mutual support. The ones who were able to walk, how they were taking care of the ones who were not able to walk. The caregivers were there, so it was not really needed, but they wanted to do. And it was so beautiful to see how they were taking care of each other also, themselves. So this is one of the one talking about, we mentioned before, that's for the summer. So it is really. And it was important how all time the educators were looking the participation of all the clients, even the ones who were more disconnected, or the ones who were had more advanced dementia stage. They were asking them, and always they're validating them. They're never correcting. Okay, what you're saying is right. Always connecting the orthesis and prosthesis with their life experience. Do you have any prosthesis? What yourself, or what do you think? How it was in your childhood? It was amazing the work they're doing. And for example, this is just some moments, but something is here. You grab something is here. They say, "No, it's beautiful," and the one is saying, "No, it's not beautiful. It's marvelous." So as you have seen, the quantitative part of the research, when you combine and you do the triangulation with the qualitative, when you see the focus group results, the field diaries, and the questionnaires, are almost saying the same all the time. So our conclusions from this research were saying that this kind of programs based on arts, based on culture, they are positively impacting the health, well-being, and social participation of the users. It improves their emotional well-being, causing enjoyment, and humor is very present during the visits. So this was the health dimension, the emotional well-being, especially the cognitive well-being, were the most important parts. Also the cognitive level, of course, it was about attention, it's about interest, orientation to reality, talking about Africa, talking about the war. It's about reminiscence, evocation of memories, but also was very interesting, enjoyment of novelty. It was very close to learn. They want to be in contact with contemporary world. It's their world. Sometimes we put them aside. We think, oh, they are not interested. They are too old to. No, it's not true. It's our stigma. It's our prejudices. It's not about what they are feeling, at least in this time. And it's about social interaction and how they help each other and how they're supporting each other. And the evaluation of the program is very positive, but not only for clients, also the caregivers, also the relative. And also it was impacting the educators, and it was impacting the institution itself. So it's something powerful, because it's changing the mentality and the mission of the cultural center. It's changing the mission of the museum itself. So it's something really powerful what's going on. It's not just an extra program. It's a program that's transforming the institution. And educators have a key role. They are doing just a wonderful role. I have to acknowledge Tere and her team. It's amazing what they're doing. It's about accessibility. It's about inclusion of the museums. And of course, they can be improved in this case. In this particular case, they were asking for more human resources to be able to have more visits with smaller groups. We would like a graphic designer. And when you ask the clients or the caregivers and family members, they want more. Longer visits is not enough. 1 hour is not enough. We want more. And we want more regular visits. So it's about the positive impact of the program in the caregivers, the families, and the educators, and also in the museum. And this is just a moment from a field note from the participant observation. There was watching the art piece with the babies. So the educator, Terry, started asking about their games. And do you know there is a game called Charanca in Spain? It's the one that you start like jumping, and she started that one. That's okay. I knew. She started playing that. So clients were just so funny because the educator was jumping and playing. So spontaneously, one of the ladies started singing the song. In Spain, we sing "El patio de mi casa es particular," and one start, and all the group just joined singing. So it was such a spontaneous but moment that was showing what's going on the project. Everyone loved seeing to her play. Spontaneously, someone begins to sing. The patio of my house is private, whatever. And they look at each other to see if they share this moment of gratitude and happiness. One of the ladies said, we are children. And they start talking about their memories, about their childhood, about their grandson, about their granddaughter. So this was just one of the moments, one of the visits we were recording in the participant observation. That I think is illustrating what's going on these kind of projects. So we have a Catalan poet. It's called Miquel Martí Pol. I'm very fan of his poetry, and he says that beauty it's our heritage, but so many times we prefer the sad and routinary laziness of a cartoon box. Beauty is art. Beauty is culture. Art and culture is the language of human spirit, and we have seen as they are universal human rights. So many times we are people with dementia, people with mental health problems, they are neglected to participate as full members of the cultural life of the community, and we condemn them to be in a cultural box, and we are society because we are giving them the opportunities to participate, and it's our responsibility really to help them to participate in this kind of programs because the impact is very good. It's also but it's a social necessity, I think, because I mentioned we have the population of dementia is increasing. We have more than 46 million. The services are decreasing. So it's to look for at innovative ways to look at the community. And we have the museums at the community level. We have the cultural centers. And they are also willing to be inclusive museums. And the research is showing that it has a good impact. It's a meaningful occupation for them. It has good impact in the health, social participation, whatever. So it's just how to rethink how we are taking care of our communities. So this is last quotation I share with you. One of the persons, the clients, was saying, "Thanks for remembering those who cannot remember." So that's about the project I wanted to share with you. Just one of the examples of the research we are developing in Spain. So thank you.
I think we have time for a few questions.
Salvador, how did you get the museum interested in doing this?
In this case was the museum itself who started this project. They started the program last few years ago, and they contacted us because they wanted us to do the research. So in this case, the museum itself started. For example, now in Museum Thyssen, we have proposed the visits on the Museo of Bellas Artes. We are proposing the program. So it's in this case they were themselves. It's a very sensitive team, and the interest was inner interest. So as occupational therapists, for example, always we need to find the wonderful resources of the community, and we have a wonderful center with people willing to do these kind of things, and they want to do research, and it's amazing. So instead of complaining, we have no funding, no, just play what we have.
If I could just, no, is this even on? Okay. If I could just ask a question about the educators. So you just went in to do the research. The educators educated themselves on how to then work with the groups. They weren't your students or
No, the educators are part of the institutions. Normally in Spain, all the museums, they have an education service, but normally it's about Sundays. A family is coming and they do something with the families. So from that position, they did an evolution. But we involve them as co-researchers. So, for example, when we did the questionnaires, we were working the questionnaires with them, and also we were training them. These are the qualitative methodology, these are the focus groups, and we are doing like this, and we do questionnaires, and so we're training them about research. But
Not about the education piece.
no, they are masters already.
Yeah.
We arrived too late for that. No, they're not really. They have the experience, and they're following the program in MoMA, the Museum of New York. That MoMA started this kind of program with Alzheimer's, so they contact with them time ago, and so they were really masters about this. So, for example, now we'll start in my city, in Vic, again on September, October, and they are part of the research team as advisors for the methodology. So they are partners with us. At Museum Thyssen, we have Alberto Camoneda. He is an amazing educator. 50% of my knowledge in art is thanks to him. So they are educating me, enriching my life. So more questions. Come on.
Thank you very much. What a great example of collaboration and using community resources in a novel way. I'm interested in the participants, the people with Alzheimer's, and how are they just individuals living in the community that it was advertised, or are they a group in some way, or how did they get connected?
They have from the museum, they have connected with all the day centers, with all the centers working with Alzheimer's, of dementia patients. They work with a society of Alzheimer, whatever. So they have offered the program. So that means that every time that you a new exhibition, they are welcome, all the groups of day center or whatever. And this is one origin, maybe coming a band with 10 clients from one day center, but also they welcome individuals coming with their family members, and they merge together. So it's open to all the centers. That's very important to notice in Barcelona, or in the area of Barcelona, in the province. So it's really inclusive.
What's next?
Well, we are developing. The amazing thing is that it's not just about visiting the museums. For example, in Auditorio, people come to Auditorio, they play music themselves, and then they listen to music with the National Orchestra of Catalonia. We'll do the research about that. But when we want to create, what we are creating, it's a continuum, is what kind of art activities, cultural activities we develop at the day centers. Because I don't know in Canada, but sometimes when I go to Spain and they're doing art therapy, occupational therapy, my father had Alzheimer, so it's personal for me. I'm get very upset, and for me it's difficult not to say what I'm thinking and to say it in a polite way. Because, for example, you arrive there at the table, there are a lot of boxes and it's written 0 to 6, and it's 0 to 6, and you see the persons. And come on, this person has gone under the Civil War. He has amazing life history. He has wonderful resources and capabilities, and she's drawing Piolín or Sesame Street. So, and then I just say, okay, breath, say it in a polite way. So what we try to do also is to design interventions programs, how to work through art in the day centers. For example, Uyan, it's a researchers from Salamanca University. They have developed 10 sessions based on art. They are watching art masterpieces at the center, like Goya or Jackson Pollock or whatever, or Kandinsky, and they work through a technique, it's called Stianotipo, and they are producing art. And plus they're doing the visits. Or you can just welcome some of the masterpieces of the museum, or why not they can go to the day center, they start a discussion, and they go to... So there are so much possibilities, it's amazing. Art is innovation, so when you start doing this program, they are constantly enriching. For example, in the program we are doing in Madrid with Museo Thyssen, they are with mental health survivors, some of them finishing being volunteers at the museum, and they are guiding the visits of the general population. So they are carrying the role of expert in art, active citizen, and guiding the community members. So there's amazing possibilities going on from this kind of projects, really, when we start with them. So welcome and join us in the research, in the project. So we'll start in Canada.
Okay, we'll have one last question.
Okay. You referred at one point to they wanted more,
Mm-hmm.
the clients and the caregivers. And I think you said they got about an hour
Sí.
for a visit. What is it that limits that hour? Is it just the resources that the museum has?
No, it's because the educators, they think more or less 1 hour should be enough for them, because they are very worried not to cause fatigue and not to cause any kind of discomfort for the clients. So they limit. Of course, there are 50 masterpieces. They visit 7, 8, and they put the seats. But the clients say, we want longer.
Right, and so
It's precocious.
it
No.
wasn't a problem for them.
No, they can have longer. It was just they were preventing to cause this discomfort for clients.
Right.
That was the limit about.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, well, on behalf of the College of Rehabilitation Sciences, thank you so much for your session today. And I think we all enjoyed and learned lots about some really exciting opportunities.
Okay.
Thank you.
So.